Are you normal? Or maybe I should ask, do you really want to be normal? Welcome to the Overcome Depression podcast. The tools you learn here can make depression a part of your past, allow healing regardless of your present circumstances, and offer hope for your future. I am your host, Jennifer Stirling-Campbell. Jiddu Krishnamurti said, "It is no measure of health to be well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society." I 100% agree with that. I feel like so many of us today accept the mental distress, mental disorder, the depression, whatever it is, when we tell ourselves, well, it's normal. Everybody struggles with it, or a lot of people struggle with it. It's fine. It's normal. It's not okay. It is not okay to feel it's not healthy. Like, it might be normal, but it's not thriving. And if we live in this profoundly sick society, I think we want to reach above the status quo. Let's like shoot for the stars. I really think we can do better. I think this whole country can do better. We have a lot of healing to do. But I want to kind of explain the way that the body works when it goes into chemical reactions that cause us to feel awful. And I tried to explain it to my husband for several years. He would say the really compassionate words. He'd say, when I would say something like, well, I did this, or I was angry, or I was frustrated, and he'd say, well, that's your choice. Well, that's your choice. And it would make me so frustrated. I hated it when he said that, because there is a point at which there's a definite choice. And once you bridge that gap, I suppose, of anger, once anger gets to a 9, it's almost like that agency just went out the window. It's no longer a choice anymore. You've allowed it to get to that point, and now you get to deal with it. In the case of triggers, I think there's a very small, minuscule space where we get to choose. But it's just so fast. It's so small. It's so short that often it can feel like we don't get a choice. It just happens. And then we have these chemicals surging through our body, and then we get to deal with that. They just don't go away. How we react or how we act or what we do when we are angry, like, we have to be responsible for that. But the chemicals behind the anger are not always our choice. But how we deal with it after it's just harder, much harder for someone who struggles with anger and depression. I was trying to explain how this works to my husband, who does not struggle with chemical anger or depression. And basically, whenever he goes to give blood, he struggles in that he'll usually pass out about halfway through the blood giving process. And I never pass out when I give blood. But basically, I think what his body is doing is it thinks it's in danger, and there's chemicals that are sent that are telling him, you need to shut down, you're in trouble. And then it shuts him down and he passes out. And I said, well, can you control it? Can you just not pass out? And he's like, well, not really. And I'm saying, well, I don't pass out. I felt like I could pass out before, but I've talked myself out of it. Told myself I'm fine. I've never passed out when giving blood. He pretty much does every single time. And I'm sure he could train himself not to. I'm sure there's some subconscious things he could do. I'm not sure if it's worth it, if it really matters. But the point being that once those chemicals get released, it's over. You then get to deal with the fact that, okay, you passed out, you come awake a few minutes later, and, oh, what happened? But I think that it's very hard and discouraging when over and over and over again, because so many times I would do something in anger, and it's things that I regretted deeply, and I would tell myself and whoever was affected by the incident that I'm so sorry. I'll never do that again. I'm so sorry. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. And inevitably, I'd get upset, triggered, and I would do something similar again. And then just be shameful and guilty about, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that again. It's like an addiction, the anger. Depression, I think, is an addiction too. It's a chemical addiction to your own chemicals in your own body. And it can be very it can feel very euphoric. I don't know if that's the right word, but when you're in a rage, releasing that anger can feel good in the moment. And of course, afterwards, you feel terrible, just like you do after a drug episode. So I found that doing that over and over and over again, it was not effective whatsoever to say or tell myself, I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again. Inevitably, I would. That was how I was programmed. That's what was happening every single time. So I feel like I felt inspired to take myself through this process that essentially would help me practice and reprogram events from my past so that I could handle them better in my future. So for example, if I got really angry, said some things that I regretted that were mean, or if I hit a wall, something like that, and was really feeling bad about it afterwards, this could be something from years ago. You could do this for any event, anytime. You can do it for something present, today, or 10 years ago. But you can close your eyes and go back to that event. And I like to take the light with me. So to be able to try to see that event through God's eyes, filtered through love, understanding, and compassion, because the idea is to look at yourself and the others in that situation compassionately, that you are a human being struggling in pain, and it's really hard. So if you take the light with you, whether that's a person or a feeling or whatever it is that you want to take back to this moment in time when something that you did something or experienced something that was hard, that you regret. And what I first like to do is try to rewatch it and ask the Lord, in my case, it could be just the universe, to help me forgive myself and help me forgive any perpetuators, to help me to see them with love, see myself with love, see the person who upset me with love, see the person who hurt me with love and understanding. Maybe they were going through a hard time too. More or less, probably. And then I do it again in my mind. Once I feel like I've at least let go of some of that hate or resentment or frustration, even just a little bit is progress. But then I'll go through that event again in my mind. And then I will practice handling it perfectly. I will imagine the person saying the thing that's triggering me, instead of reacting, saying the perfect thing. You know, not something snarky, but something perfect, something good, something that would diffuse, or standing up for myself, even whatever it was necessary in that event. But I wish I'd handled it better. Doing it in your mind, or doing it in my mind in a way that I could be proud of. And I could practice it several times, where maybe they come back with a snarky remark, and then I can practice saying the right thing. And sometimes I'll go through it and I'll say something, I'll go, oh, that's not right, and I'll try again. Or if I did something I didn't like, I'll physically feel my whole being, my spirit, almost like, no, hold back, you got this. You're not going to hit that wall. You're not going to do that thing. You take a deep breath in your imagination and you imagine doing the right thing, walking away, or just clenching your hands and putting them in your pocket, or taking a deep breath. Whatever perfect scenario you can imagine, with the light right next to you to help you through that process and mentor you through that perfect process. And you can do several different scenarios. Like, imagine this happened within the same event, and you handling it perfectly every single time. And I feel like as I have done this exercise, even in the past year, that my ability to handle what had triggered me previously, suddenly I have these memories that I created from memories in the past that I recreated and said, no. This is how you did it, but this is how you're going to do it now. This is who you are. You are capable of responding this way. And you're really good at it because you've practiced. And literally you can do this with anything from your past, anything in the present. Like if something happened today, there's several things that happened today. You can meditate on these things at night before you go to bed, or even while you're driving, if you can feel like you could do it safely. I do try to, if something goes wrong, I try to take care of it quite quickly. I spent a lot of years really hashing and releasing things from my past, and I'm mostly caught up now. I feel like most of the things I'm dealing with are present issues, so that it's kind of nice, and we'll get you there. But I found this exercise to be incredibly healing, incredibly empowering, and incredibly life-changing. You will be able to handle things that you couldn't handle before differently. So I would challenge you to accept this challenge if you so choose and create a new normal. My name is Jennifer Stirling-Campbell, and you're listening to the Overcome Depression podcast. If you are new to this podcast, please go watch all of the hashtag introduction videos first, and then consider downloading the Overcome Depression workbook. Links in the description. The content in this podcast is based on my own personal beliefs, is for informational purposes only, and is not intended to substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please refer to the full legal disclaimer in the description.